Okay, we're in the Sharkabonos page, Reish Test, and we're going to need to use the Motzoehem. Just Zetam Lama Havaya D'Sag Ima.
Ready to connect.
Beprati Remez Amochin Shebashem Sag. Gam Bezecha Betavin Lama Havaya D'Milui Sag Ima. Now we understand how it is that Sag came out of the Miluyim of Ima. And he deals like this. He said what? Hinei Ba'arba Shemos Yaakov. So let's find the Arba Shemos Yaakov, which is at the very left-hand side of the top box, which is the Bina of Abba. So he says in those three names, Hinei Ba'arba Shemos Yaakov, B'Shecha B'Bina da Abba, that are in the Bina da Abba, Shena'asis Choch B'Cha B'Mochin De'im B'Cha Genizka. So that's going to switch over and make the right side of Ima, because it's part of the Bina da Abba, so therefore it goes to the right side. Yesh Bechem Lamed Osios, so the Lamed Aleph and Osios. So if you count them up, you'll see that there
Ready
are.
To connect.
I don't know what this is all about. There are about. They are 31 letters here. 31. And he says like this. So they have 31 letters there. So then he said, who sowed Shem Kale, because 31 is the gematria of the name Kale, Havaya D'Sag, which is a part of the Havaya D'Sag. Shehem Shlosha Yudin, that is, how did you get that? Yeah, there were 3 Yuds, Ba'alef, and 1 Aleph, that makes the gematria 31. Sheyesh B'Havaya Zu, and this Havaya. So you see a correspondence between that, the 31, which is the kale, which is what kale means chesed. This is like I'm not sure how it works. Shorish el Havaya D'Sag, which is the root of the Havaya D'Sag Kanuda. I don't know how to stop this from doing that, so it's going to do it. Ukanir Parshas Pinchas Barai Mehemna, he said who the reason for this is Shehi Chochma the Mochin the Abba, because it's the Chochma of the Mochin the Abba. It comes from that part. V'lechein Shlosha Yudin ve'Elef Shehem Shorish Havaya D'Sag, which are a root of the Havaya D'Sag, Yotzei Mechochma De'ima. So he says this concept of 31, once again, is a root of the Havaya D'Sag. So he says Gam B'Zeh, so he says also in this, he says, Tavin ki lo'olam kol Havaya hi ba'Abba. Every time you see the word Havaya, it really refers to Abba, but called Ekya hi ba'ima, and then called Ekya ba'ima. That's a general rule. Volkan hi b'bina the Abba, but here we're talking about the bina of Abba. I don't know if what I should do with this. Turn it off? I don't know how to turn it off, but it's bothering me. Akan shehi bina the Abba. Then after that it becomes the Chochma of Ima. So therefore he said, what? I just got mixed up. Let me get back together again. Then after that Havaya, which is it's part of a Yud Kei Vav, it's a Yaakov. He says, Na'asis Chochma De'ima, V'lechein Mekol Zecha B'Lokho B'Kon Se'ima Havaya D'Sag. So this way she gets a Havaya D'Sag. Shem Shal Akya Levad Kanoida, but at the beginning was only an Akya. So all the Imadik stuff. Amnam Shar Lamed base the Mizbach of Havaya D'Sag. Now that still only gives you 31. You want to get to 63. So we go down to Ima, and this would be the Imadik part, and we're going to count it up. So this is the Bina of Ima, and if you count them up, you're going to find that there's each one of these lines has 8 letters in it. 4 times 8 is 32. So he says, going back to what the written words are, he says, Amnam Shar Lamed Beis the Mizbach of Havaya D'Sag, the rest of the 32 that come with the Havaya D'Sag. Hem Yosim in Bina de Ima, they come out of the Bina of Ima. Sheyesh B'cha Lamed Beis Osius. If you count them up, I said there's 4 lines of 8 letters. That's 32. Imahem, and the Shlemas Ima B'Shem Sag. So she's made out of the count of these 2 parts, the Bina de Abba and the Bina de Ima. ARI Bi'arno, at least that's where we get the number Sag. ARI Bi'arno L'cha Ech Yesh Havaya D'Sag Ima. So now you see that in Ima, because these both aspects are going into Ima, Afal Pi She'ein Bo Havaya, even though she's not a Havaya, she's really an Ekya, V'hu Me'elu HaShnei, and it comes from these 2 Mochim, Harishanim Shehem Choch B'Bina, Na'ases Ba B'Chinas Sag Shalem Keniska. I didn't think really understood those words exactly, but we'll look at the Tiv. Aval L'Shnei Mochim B'Chevim Shehem Chasadim B'Gevuros, but the other 2, which are Chasadim and Gevuros, Hey Machreim. They actually don't count because they're really balancers. Veinim Mochim Mamish Keniska. We said that before. He said that before. Aval L'Shorish D'Sag Shehu Shem Kale. Now he goes over here and he says, like the one of the Shroshim, he says Ad Shorish D'Sag. He said, actually he doesn't say the way I said it. He says that the root of Sag is the name Kale. Yotz Mechachma Sheba comes out of the Chachma of Ima. We have Rishayna, which is the first. Shar Osio Sag, I guess it means a Sheba Shehi of Rishayna. I don't know, that's the first thing that comes out of that 31. Bashar Osio Sag, Shehem Gematria Lamed Base. Yotzi Bina de Ima, they come out for the Bina de Ima. Sheba Yesh Lamed Base Osios, that in her there are 32 letters. Ba'arbech of Hashemas Aki, as we've been meeting with Keniskar, the Zohar Klal Zeh. So remember that, he says. Now let's look at the Tib and see if there's anything else to be gleaned here. And we'll look at it now on, that would be number Reish Lamed Ches, which is towards the bottom of the left column over here. Reish Lamed Ches. So he says, Gam Bezer Shem Yaakov Hu Be'ima. Yaakov, which comes from the Abba side, is also an Ima. Yubin Mifnei Ma Shem Sag Hu Be'ima. So from this, you're going to be able to understand how Sag works. So once again, here's the Yaakov here, right there, and there are 31 letters there. If you count them up, I'm not going to count them up, but they're there. He says, Hine the Arba B'mini Beluim Sheyeh B'Shlosh Osios Yaakov, back down here again. Asher B'Techila, at the beginning, Choyu, Ba'arba B'Hamochim Shebabid D'Zad B'Tzad Abba. So they're going to go in Ba'arba Mochim Shebabid D'Zad, that are going to the left side of Zad B'Tzad Abba. So it's going to be the Abba part, or it comes from Abba. Let's see what else he says. Shachar Achiluf, after the Chiluf, Aza Arba B'Mini B'Loim Sheyeh B'Shlosh Osios Yaakov. So then those 4 different kinds of Miluyim that we're going to find there, Nitnetzuch B'Natzach the Ima, they go into the Natzach of Ima. V'Na'asa Arba Moching the Muach HaChoch, in other words, Ima before she goes into the Zer Anpin. V'Na'asa Arba Moching. Okay, you can hear me now? Okay, so next time this happens, let me call you, because it seems to work better that way. So let's go back to Reish Mem at the beginning. He said, light print, he says, Sha'akra Chiluch. Oz ha'arba b'minitz miluyim sheyeh b'shlosh osios Yaakov. So the count there of 31. Niknesucha b'netzach de'ima, that goes into the right side. That's the netzach of the Nai of Ima, which is going to Zeranpin. V'na'asa arba mochim demuach hachoch b'mitzad Ima. So it makes over there 4 mochim in the Chochmah D'Zag, the D'Sag Ima. So they all go into the Chochmah of Zag. So he says, Ba'arba Milui Yaakov Yachdav. So it does this while as the four Miluyim of Yaakov are going together. Yesh B'chem Shloshim V'achas Osios. So I guess he means that in them, if you count them up, they come out to be 31 letters. B'lamad Aval Olios Osios Halalosh Ba'arba B'binyam Elohim Shed Yaakov. Haim Ramazin the Shem Kale. This is really a reference to the concept that is a Kale here. Chayotzach B'Shem B'Vayim D'Milu Isaac. So he said, Shem Kavaya the Milu Isag, that Havaya of the Milu Isag, Yotze B'Shem Kale, Shuhu Shlosha Yudin V'Aleph Echad Kazeh, and then he shows it to us where there are 1, 2, 3 Yuds, and then you also find 1 Aleph. So it wants to say that this is a PowerPoint in Sag. So those three, Shuhuka Mizbar Kale, Haim Osius Hashorish Alavaya the Milui Sag. So he calls this the root of the Havaya of Sag. It could take more explanation for what he means by a root. So in the Eitz Chaim, Besovacha Bechlalim, Shahasimar Hu Klal Kaf. I don't know where that came from exactly. Because that's in Parshas Penchas, he says. Why is this named the Shorish? He said, Mishum Shahashem Kale Romez the Arba Mini Miluyim, because it actually is a reference to 4 different kinds of Miluyim of the Shem Yaakov. So it's to order really for me to understand this, I really have to understand how counts work. I guess just listen to it, just maybe it'll come to me to get a feeling for it. But he says that they're the Arba Mini Miluyim of the Shem Yaakov, Yesh B'Chochmah D'Zechad D'B'Tzad Ima. So we know that there's these 4 Miluyim, and they come to the number 31. L'chem Gam Shlosha Yudin B'Aleph Shorish Shel Havaya D'Sag Haramez the Shem Kale, Shem Kale Osius, and then also 31 Osius. So he wants to say that is a Shorish. Where do they come from? They come from the Chochmah of Ima. He Shorish the Kulam, so Kulam b'Chochmah Asisa. Now he says it's the Chochmah of Ima. I thought it come from the, I guess, let's see, Yaakov is in Abba, and it's the Bina of Abba. So he says, let me read that again. He said, Mishum Hashem Kale Romans L'Arba Milui and Arba Milui Shem Yaakov Yesh B'Chochmah D'Zad. That okay, coming into the Chochmah D'Zad the B'Tzad Ima. Okay. V'Lechem Gama Shlosha Yudin V'Aleph. Also the 4 Yudin and the Aleph. Shuhu Hashor Shal Havaya D'Sag. And he said this several times now. It's the root of that name. A Ramaz on the Shem Kale. Shehem Kale Osius Sheyesh Ba'arba Milu Yaakov. So how do we know that? He says the root is in the count. Hem Yotzim Chochmah D'Ima. Also, you see it reflected maybe in the count. But Chochmah Shorish L'Kulam. Chochmah is the root of all of them. So Kulam B'Chochmah Sisa, meaning that they're coming from Abba. For this we understand that the 4 different types of Yaakovs we have here, so it was originally a part of Abba, but the Bina of Abba, but it comes and switches, it becomes the Chochmah, the right line on the side of Ima, because it comes to the right of Abba, or the Abba is to the right of Ima. Yuvan Shahari Bekol Mako, because the Shem Mako Mamrinim Ki Shemus Havaya came by Abba. So we understand wherever you're thinking is that Havayas come from Abba, but Bekol Shemus Akia Aim Ba'ima. So now he says Ak Khan, but here Ha Arba Rabilu Yaakov Hoya B'Dechida B'Arba Melchim Sheyesh B'Bina B'Tzad Abba. So originally these 4 Yaakovs were in the Bina part, but they're in the part of Abba. And then you have a switch. Na'asim Arba Mini Miluim Yaakov. Much D'Sag Ima. So he said again, it says that the idea that will come from Abba makes the right side of Ima. So that is, the left side of Abba makes the right side of Ima. You could also see that in another sense would be that the Hitzonius, which would be the Bina in this case of the upper, becomes the Panemius of the lower. So it was the left side, the most outside part of Abba, now it's going to become the right side of Ima. ולכן מקבץ החילוף של המוחים כללו, והם 4 מילוי יעקב, those 4 on the Omer Lamalo, שיש בכם למד א' אוסיוס, and Ramazim b'shem Sag, שיש בכם b'shem Kale, which is also the name Kale, אז לקלוקה v'konsa ima ata shem kavayim de milui samach gemel. So this is how she gets this milui of samach gemel, by starting out with apparently this Kale. There's a kodem b'chilif amochim koya the ima rak shem akia bilvad, but before the chilif, there was no. All right, let's see if this works better. So he says, where were we? So let's go back to number Reish Nun Hey, like print. It says, Akodem Chilif Amochin, Hoya the Ima Rak Shem Akia. Ima is always Akia, but she needs the Yaakov. Bilvat. Without Hoya the Rebbe Havaya, she didn't have the name of Havaya. Shem Havaya D'Sag Yesh Bo Shnei Cholokim. Now, if you talk about the Havaya D'Sag, then you're going to talk about the 2 different portions. Chelek Echad Hu Shem Kale. If we just talked about the Yotzim and Arba Beluim Yaakov, Sheyesh Bechem Lamed Al Osius. So that comparison, or that comparison, right? At Sarak Bir Me'echon Hem Sharha Lamed Bet. But what about the other 32? Amatsorfim im Misbach of the Havaya D'Sag, which have to be mixed up with the count of the Havaya D'Sag. So he shows us real quickly what the Havaya D'Sag looks like. Yud Vav Dalet Ke Yud Vav Alabav Ke Yud, which is Gematria 63. But it gets divided actually into 2 parts. That's the one we just went through. Shuhu b'gematria lamed aleph, and it came from the left side of Abba. Shuhu shem kale. V'hachedek hasheni hu shara osir sheno saros. So now the second part has to be all the rest of the letters that you're missing. After we counted out that concept once again, he said that was the root. Then you have to find another 32, but on Osius Vav Dalet K Vav Vav and K Kazat. So he said and from that is Kazat, and then it shows you the Miluim of Sag. Behem Olim Lamed Beis, they come out to the gematria of Lamed Beis. So if you add up these numbers, 10 and 15 and 6 is 21, and 6 is and 5 more. I don't know how we got there. Wait a minute. He said Vav Dal is 10, 15, 12 is 27, and 5 is 32. Okay, Kazats, and then he shows it to us. Behem Olim Lamed Beis, they come up to the count of Lamed Beis. So he says those are just the what do you say? The Meloyim. So that's the Lamed Beis that comes out to be the Havaya D'Sag. So he said, Aki. So where do they come? It says that the 3-letter combination of Aki, which is found in Moach Abina de B'Tzad Ima. So here is the Ima different part, and here are the 3-letter combinations of Aki, and each one of them has 8 letters, and there are 4 of them. That makes 32. And this is all going into Ima, so there's a place where you see the 32. Ima Alamed Beis Osius. So he said, Mitzarfim Alamed Aleph Osius Shel Arba Milu Yaakov. So you put those 4 miloyim, it makes 31. Sheyesh B'chach with the B'tzad Ima. and they're going to go into this Havaya D'Sag Ima. Ima lamed beis osi shal arba milui aki, sheyev bebined b'tzad ima, az heim olam yachdav samach gimel. So then that's how you get sag. V'al yadam nishlam le'ima shem sag. K'ayidech lamed aleph osius the arba milui Yaakov, sheheim muach bebined b'tzad ima. Ima lamed beis osius the arba milui aki, sheheim muach achachad b'tzad ima. Nishlam l'sag. It becomes a sag. Both of Sheyesh Havaya D'Sag Ima, and in this way there is a Havaya D'Sag of Ima. Hagam Shebe'ima Rabe'im Bo Shem Havaya El Shem Akya. Even though we understand there is no Havaya in Ima, but she borrows some from Abba. So he said, V'hu Al Yadei, and how does this happen? It comes Al Yadei, what? Shemachabra Shnei Hamochim Shehem Chochba B'Bid B'Tzad Abba. Behind that shachachach the b'tzad ima achar hachiluf he arba miluim Yaakov. He said what? Behind that shachachach the b'tzad ima took after the switch. She's now looks like she has a little bit of Abba in her. She has the 4 miluim of Yaakov. V'yesh bechem lamed aleph osios, and it has 31 letters. V'rabina the ima he arba miluim aki. So he says, look at the miluyim of Ima, and you'll see different combinations of the name Aki. Here they are on our page. Here are those 4. V'yesh b'chem lamed beis osius. If you count them up, shnechem b'yachad hem samach gimel osius, and the 2 of them together make 63 letters. V'as na'asach of the Ima shem shalim shall abide the milui saga. Now you have 32 and 31, and that's what you got. So he says, so he says, the whole sag comes from where? He said, Loka ima rak b'shnei hamochim, she gets from the Shnei hamochim shehem chochma bina, which are real chochma bina, in other words, from the side of Abba. At locha b'bucha, son of a gavur shaladas. He said, not from them. He says, ha'abucha shaladas. I'm thinking my number system is not exactly. Okay, let's go on. So he wants to say once again, he keep putting that in there, that there's a power letter there, this kale is a power. And it's the root of sag. Once again, so he says, yes, okay, let's see what Rish Ayin Gimel, something wrong with the lettering, Resh Samach Tas, oh, that's what it is. So Memuach Chachma the B'tzad Ima Achra Achilov, so from the Memuach Chachma, so he says, Yotzach and Memuach Chachma the B'tzad Ima Achra Achilov, Shuhu Halamed Aleph Osir Sheba Arba Miluim Yaakov, which once again are these 4. He says, V'zecha muach the chachma hu muach harishon shalabina becomes the first, and I guess the first muach in Ima. V'oisad mitzdarfen the shem keil l'hashli l'misbar sag, and they're part of the concept of making the sag. She'ol the gematria lamed beis. So we look at, I think I missed something in my translation. V'oisad the mitzdarfen the shem keil l'shashlimam l'misbar sag. She'ol the gematria lamed beis, the other letters. Elo yotzem memuach bina the b'tzad ima, they come from the ima, the left side of the left, which is left side of ima. Shezecha b'muach the bina the b'tzad ima yesh bo lamed beis osius. Ve'edocha b'lamed beis osius hein be'em semilu shemus aki. So where do you find them? You find them behem ba'arba milui shemus aki. They're the miluim of them, as you count them up. Sheyesh b'bina b'tzad ima. Then he said of the Zuchi bracha marchu, where he said the Zocher Klauza, it's a bracha for us. Shenitzko as Klauza Hech Yesh Le'ima Shem Havaya D'Sag, how in fact she comes out to be as Havaya D'Sag. Okay, so that's the place we're going to today, and today is what day is today? Today's the 15th of Elul.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so that's what we got to today. And I was thinking, we were learning all along. I don't know what you think about this, but all along about the mob, the ma, the man, the ben, the ma, and etc. That maybe that refers to Zeranpin and the Nukva before she receives, because ma and ben really refer to Zachav and Nuk. Not this is a case in Abba and Ima. Maybe that's a confusion in my head. Okay, so let's go over to how much more time do we have?
Um, 5 minutes.
5 minutes. Wow, you can do a lot in 5 minutes. So let me stop this one.